Hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice from thewanderinginvestor.com. So today we are in Lustica in beautiful Montenegro with Peter square meter, and we're gonna go check out a project where if you do things well, you can make 50 to 60% gross within 18 to 24 months. So essentially it's about buying a lot of land here with nice sea views, building contemporary villas, and then flipping them. Peter, how are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you again.
Yes, always a pleasure.
I'm really sorry. I'm on holiday, so we're actually staying at this beautiful villa here. So,
it's nice. It's nice. We did a video last year of this unfinished villa, which was also a flip opportunity for where people could make about 50%.
Yep.
That one would have been quicker, really 18 months.
Yep.
And you sold it, right?
It's just sales going through right now.
Cool. Yeah. And people are going to go ahead with that project?
Yes, they are, yeah. And cool. We're staying here in this lovely villa, so it's absolutely awesome. I'm a big fan of Lustica. So.
Cool. All right, fantastic. So what we're going to do is because people typically, when they think of Montenegro, people think of Budva, Tivat, Kotor, Herceg Novi. Not too many people have heard of Lustica, but the area is growing fast, probably faster than any other area here in Montenegro.
Yeah, it's coming really strongly since Orascom put in Lustica Bay. So you've got a, $1.5 billion kind of development going on there, selling really, really well. It's actually only about 20 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So it's really useful. Eventually you're going to have a Gary Player golf course, championship golf course going on there.
That's a big catalyst.
All the kind of usual, they've got Chetty hotels there. I think they've got 2 hotels there at the moment. They will have maybe 6 or 8 in total eventually.
Okay.
And also we're very handy for Zenica Beach, Maurice Beach, fantastic restaurants down there. So
cool. So you're going to take us to one of the beaches right now. We're going to have a kind of a look to have a better understanding of what the lifestyle is here. Then we're going to head out to the lot.
Yep.
And we're going to do all of the numbers in terms of the price of the lot, the construction prices per square foot, per square meter, how much we can flip them for, etc., so that people have a good idea of what the project is. And then afterwards, we're going to drive all the way to Herceg Novi, and we are going to go check out a plot of land that is essentially riverside.
It's on the mouth of the river, basically, I don't know, in meters, maybe 30 meters from the actual sea. So you just come in, so you can actually, it's really good because you can actually come in with a boat, for example, if somebody has a yacht, they can put it in the local marina and they can bring the tender to the property. The plot goes through the water.
Cool.
The water's edge.
And there it's a different project. We build a building there.
You can build a fantastic villa. I think there's good opportunity if somebody wants to make some money. Then it could be 6 2-bedroom apartments, nice luxury waterside apartments with water access, of course.
Cool. So we'll do the numbers for that as well. All right, fantastic. So now let's head out to the beach and have a look at the whole...
Yeah.
What it looks like. Yo, Peter.
Yo.
How long have you been living here again?
This is my 18th year.
Why are you still rolling with British plates?
Don't put that in the video. Because this is a British classic, that's why, yeah. I managed to pick this up last year and I love this car. So it's a nearly 30-year-old Toyota 4Runner, so. Actually, it's a Toyota Surf.
All right.
Japanese import.
So, Peter, are you enjoying driving on these roads?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, this is one of my favorite areas. So this part of Lustica is actually, you can see the kind of olive groves around and cypress pine trees. And it's more like Tuscany here. So it's a bit, it's a bit special.
It is, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the guy in the Mazda now. So, yeah.
And what about, because it's a bit remote. It took me 30 minutes to drive from this place where you're staying at to the center of Tivat, where I'm staying.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, 30 minutes, this feels like a lot. Do you feel that it's a hindrance for people who want to stay here, or is that what they're looking for?
For the people who want to be in a town, they'll be looking at the towns, and obviously some people like to be, me personally, I'd like to be kind of in a location like this, especially if they have busy lives. So you have somewhere which is very tranquil, so you're kind of really out in the unspoiled nature here. It's lots of beautiful kind of little stone houses, churches and things, as they surrounded by these kind of cypress pines and olive groves around the place. Some great beaches here as well. So I think some people like to kind of come back to their house and relax and, you know, just listen to some music or the cicadas or whatever it may be.
It's very nice. Like you see cute little churches here, little cemetery. Nice people are building these nice villas around. It's very peaceful, yet somehow premium as well, and there's history, but it's a bit run down, which is charming as well. I don't know, there's a lot to like about this area.
I can tell you about the kind of the clients that we have that buy here, and it tends to be, let's say, a little bit more high end. So people who want to have their remote villa and they want to have something a little bit more exclusive, more private, and so on. And then if they want, they can, say, just get down to the beach, or they can be in Porto Montenegro in 35 minutes or something, or they can be in Lustica Bay in less than 20 minutes, you know, having lunch at the Chetty or so on. So it has this kind of high-end kind of villa appeal to it. Certainly the stone houses were pretty much all sold out. So now the market is the new villas, either in the classical style or the contemporary style.
Cool. So you see, look at these beautiful mountains behind. So that's actually, the mountains are on the other side of the bay. But you have these like beautiful, all over Lustica, you have all these like beautiful little villages that dot the hills. It's quite special here. And then, like I said, like 30 minutes away, you've got Tivat Airport.
Yeah, Tivat Airport, and
2 hours away, you've got skiing.
Exactly, yeah.
All these marinas as well, for if you have a boat or yacht, whatever. All right, here we are. So this is apparently one of Peter Square Meter's favorite restaurants. Nice. So Peter, this is your hangout spot?
Yeah, actually this is one of my favorite restaurants in the whole of Montenegro.
Really?
So it's a really nice family restaurant. They do excellent fish here. It's kind of really cool. You've got a little tiny beach here. Down here, let's go this way maybe. I can show you you've got a little space down here. You've got the sun lounges.
Cool, and Peter has forced me to add a link to the restaurant here because he didn't want to pay for parking, so he went to the restaurant manager and said that I'll add a link if we don't pay for parking.
It's a great recommendation, don't worry about it. So, I don't know if you can see over there, you have island over there is Mamola. That's now a luxury resort run by Lustica Bay.
Where?
So island in the middle. The island over there in the middle. See with the round building?
Wait, let me try to zoom in here. Okay, so this is actually running right now.
That's a 5-star resort run by Lustica Bay.
Wow.
Behind it, you have this isthmus with another fort that's called Prevlaka. That's actually Croatia.
Yeah. So where the kind of castle is, / resort, that's a little island, that's Montenegro, and behind, that's Croatia.
And also on this side here, you have another fort, which is Arza.
Yeah.
We have a big development plot there for sale as well, which is like big.
So essentially the island's for sale.
No, the island is run by Oroscom, Lustica Bay, but we have this the fort, that'd be protected, but the land around the fort, we have that for sale as a development.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is nice here. This is very relaxed. Very relaxed. Cool. And this is essentially just a 5-minute drive to the land plot.
From the plot, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly,
just like straight up the hill, really.
Yeah. And it's a great place.
Gosh, and this is what, a hotel?
No, that's somebody's house, so they made a villa there. So I think that's available for about 8 million.
Cool. Okay. Oh, it's being sold as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Peter knows all the listings on Lustica.
Let me take you to Janica now. Let's go over there.
Let's go.
That's a different beach.
Cool. So yeah, like cute little hotels. There's a nice restaurant down there. Very nice restaurant. Just look at how gorgeous it is here.
This is pretty awesome here. You got this lovely falling off the path. Lovely pine trees. You got Janet's Beach just in front of you here. I'll try
Yeah.
and walk backwards. With beautiful aquamarine waters.
And you can just like swim here everywhere. I actually go spearfishing around here.
Yeah. Tell you what's an interesting point.
Once a week. I come here once a week. That's about a 35-minute away for a drive from Tivat. I park the car right there where we park, but I pay for parking.
Yeah, I don't pay for parking. I'm a local. One interesting thing about the waters around here is that you actually have a lot of sea urchins. Now, sea urchins are a great indicator because they can only live in very clean water.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
great
true.
to see sea urchins.
You see how transparent it is. And then the beach, let's see if we can get an angle. There are all these restaurants. You do have to buy these kind of shoes because it's pebbles. But yeah, lovely beach right here. It's big, very big. The beer is good as well. Beer on tap, €3.50 for a pint. And then that little village right here behind. It's lovely here.
Just a heads up, I'm not sure if you can get me in there, but I think they're now planning on building a 4 or 5 star hotel here.
Really?
And they're looking at maybe upgrading some of these, what seems to be more like temporary structure buildings,
Yeah.
but they've been there decades. And they'll be doing kind of newer, cooler kind of bars to kind of go along here. But it's great, you know, draft beer, some great kind of squid and a salad or whatever. It's a really cool place to be.
So essentially, I hear this, I'm a little sad because I like it the way it is, a
Me
little
too.
rustic.
Me too.
But for the investor, I mean, if there's going to be a 4-star hotel, they're going to be upgrading this whole thing, making it more premium. I mean, for the villas, it's good for the project right up there. Let's go to the lot. Let's have a look at the land and do the numbers.
Sounds like a deal.
But one of the drawbacks buying here is infrastructure, right?
Yeah, but it is improving. They're about to build a road through the middle of Lustica, a little bit higher up. So that road will not only be quicker and easier and straighter, it will also have awesome views. So instead of actually going there's kind of one road that goes around the kind of perimeter of Lustica, pretty much the peninsula. But you don't really see much there because you're kind of a bit low down with the houses and the walls and so on. Whereas the new road will be higher up and you'll have awesome views of the probably some parts in the Tivat Bay side, but definitely of the Adriatic kind of sea.
And what about government services here, like electricity, water, garbage waste disposal?
Garbage is very common, even where we live. You just have the large containers, so you just take your rubbish to those and
So
you
no
pay.
recycling, you just throw pretty much everything.
there is-
in these, actually, there's one we're going
Yeah,
past to here.
there is recycle, it's quite new. So at the moment it's kind of limited, so
So it's just
plastic
these
bottles
things, you
and
just
so on.
take your whatever you have.
Yeah,
and
you
throw
bring
it
your
in there.
rubbish to theirs, and these things are dotted sort of very in handy places all throughout wherever people live.
What about water? Because water is an issue.
Yep. Water. At the moment, people do the rainwater harvesting, and then they normally when the rain falls on the roof, and it then goes into a water tank. But water's coming, so I think in the next 2 to 3 years, pretty much most of Lustica will be hooked up with city water, they would call it. So it's in progress.
So government water is coming. In the meantime, people have to make provisions.
Yeah.
Electricity.
Electricity, the investor of the plot that's selling it actually invested a big sum of money to bring electricity to the plot. So it has its own little mini kind of substation on the plot. So you have it already in place.
Okay, cool. So access to electricity. So Peter, square meter, tell us about the land here.
Fantastic plot. I like it so much I bought one myself. I've got one behind my shoulder here.
Really?
Yep. 3,000 square meters just over there.
Okay.
For sale for a reasonable price if you like. This is 3,800 square meters. It's got 2 urban parcels. Currently, I'll tell you the current status, and I'll tell you what I've been told. There's information coming from the planning department. So currently, down there you can see the concrete foundations. You've got 2 times 157 square meters. And in this area where the camera is now, it's planned a bigger building of 370 square meters. The current owners did plan maybe to put 5 apartments there, or it could be one great big villa there. So that's that. And in addition to that, I'm told that you can actually do another 200 square meter house on 2 levels, plus an auxiliary building of 200 square meters on 1 level, which could be quite cool actually. The alternative is to divide the whole plot into 5 parcels of about 700 square meters. Then I'm told you could actually do 5 villas of a gross build area of 250 square meters, which is ideal villa size. So you're talking in terms of what you can do in there, probably 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. For a rental property, fantastic, because you sleep 10 or 12 there quite easily. So you'd have like 2 in each bedroom, and then maybe 2 or 4 in the living room.
I thought for a while you had an alternative lifestyle.
I do have an alternative lifestyle. We managed some properties as well. So remember at the beginning of the video, we're staying at a villa, and it's just over there. So yeah, so you can actually do villa rentals. And for this location, nice villa, I would say in today's money, you should be getting about 400 euros per night.
Cool. I think here, let's not go into the whole rental returns, because again, that would be peak season, etc. That's a whole other ball game in terms of rentals. But in terms of capital gains, I think this is where it's interesting. So let's take these 5 villas of 250 square meters each.
Yeah.
So that's approximately 2,700 square feet per villa. What are the construction costs right now for a nice villa?
Yeah, I would say for this location, you pay a little bit more to be in the location, because you're a little bit further away from town, but not too far away, maybe 30 minutes more, 30 minutes more journey for the builders to bring their materials here or something, so not ridiculous. And especially if you're building 5 at a time. So I'd say that you do I would categorize it as a luxury villa. You could then go up from there and be a deluxe. So this would be luxe category. Probably around about 1,000 to 1,100 euros per square meter. That's going to get you what you need. That would actually include overall, if you times that by 250, that would actually get you a modest pool as well, something like 4 meters by 8.
Yeah.
So that would give you an appropriate size pool. And that's it. You can go lower or you can go higher, but I think that would be appropriate for this kind of location and give you the biggest bang for your buck.
So if we go with that, let's go with the higher number to be safe. So 1,100 euros a square meter times 250, 275.
Yeah.
Because it's 5 land plots. How much is this whole thing going for?
This is 295.
Okay, so each plot of each fifth would be a bit less than 60,000 euros.
Yeah.
So essentially you're looking at 335 roughly euros, 335,000 euros to have a plot of a bit over 700 square meters with a villa, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, swimming pool, 250 square meters. Cool. So that's the idea. How much would you sell them for?
That kind of villa would be, I'd say, easy money, about 500,000. Bad day, if you're thinking worst case scenario, 450. And then if the market's really good, then probably topping out to maybe 600 in kind of today's market. So depending on the design, the finish, and so on. So.
Yeah, like 450 honestly would be too cheap, and I'm conservative. I think 500 to 550 is, I would go with these numbers. So you would be looking at essentially 500 divided by 335, or 550 divided by 335, and that's your gain. Gross, you're looking at a gain of between roughly 50 and 64%. Net, once you take this gentleman's agency fees, which are, to be fair, relatively high in Montenegro,
yeah.
You'd be looking at between 41 and 55%.
Yeah.
Essentially net before capital gains taxes, which are quite modest in Montenegro, which not a lot of people pay. This is not tax advice. Obviously, you should pay your capital gains taxes, but they're 15%. So, and how long would this project take? So if I come to you and I say, Peter, I want to buy this thing. I have the money now.
Yeah.
how long to be able to actually start building to get the permits, then how long for the building, and how long do you think it would take to sell them? If we still have the market in the current conditions, which means it's pretty hot.
Yeah. You're looking at a realistic time frame to get the money, go and speak to an architect, go through the planning process, and it's all prescriptive, so it's not such a difficult thing to do. So you're probably talking about a couple of months' time, 2 to 3 months' time to go through the architect and the planning process, and then the building process. Something like this should be 12 months, and so I would say to give you a big buffer, if you look at a timescale of between 18 months and 24 months from start to finish, to give you a key in hand kind of finished product, then that's you're looking at. So I'd say that if somebody comes to me, I don't know, in the next few months, then they could be looking at being ready for the spring, summer, or certainly summer 2025 season, if they wanted to sell it or if they wanted to rent it.
Cool. Okay. So essentially, look, you build these 5 villas, you sell 3 of them, you end up with one for yourself for free and the other one for really cheap. Essentially, that's pretty much the deal, or you sell all of them and you make your flip, take your money and run. What do you feel are some of the risks here? Because it's important to highlight risks.
I think the risks are global downturn in economy. But having said that, Montenegro is an exception, not a rule. So what I've seen here, I've been here close to 2 decades now. So the momentum of the people kind of wanting to come to Montenegro is quite high. I would also say that when you do have the downturns, things just kind of go on pause. And then when the market picks up again, then they kind of carry on where they left off. So it would just take longer to sell if that was your reason for investing. But I still think, and I know Ladislas wants to kind of concentrate on the sales side and the profit side, but I think this also makes a great case for somebody who wants to have their own little, almost like a pension plan or something like that, so they can build and rent out, and they've got a great income. So it's a good business scenario with this. And then obviously you've got an asset which is going to grow.
Yeah, so I agree with these points. I would add that because Montenegro is mostly a cash market, the reality is when interest rates go up or when the markets crash in Western countries, the market in Montenegro isn't too impacted, certainly a lot less than it is in like the UK, France, the US, Canada, etc. Because it's people who buy real estate in Montenegro, it's typically their 3rd, 4th, 5th property overseas, etc. They don't need that money. They like having it here, and they don't typically try to sell. So to Peter's point, when there's a downturn, it takes really a while for prices to correct, even if they correct at all. So in many ways, there's less downside here in Montenegro than in Western Europe or North America, Australia, in the current situation. A risk I would highlight is more issues in Europe in terms of war, etc. But again, what we're seeing is that Montenegro is actually benefiting from wars. Tons of Russians and Ukrainians have moved here. The population has grown 10% in terms of full-time population here in the last 18 months, which has been a massive shot in the arm for the Montenegrin economy because it's reduced seasonality overall. Even in winter and spring and autumn, you have people living here all year round, helping the economy, paying VAT, paying taxes, etc. So that's been really positive. And we also see a lot of Western Europeans that are moving down to Montenegro on a permanent basis because they do not want to, they're sick and tired of politics back home, etc. And they want to be in a country where they feel a bit more free and where the cost of living is lower as well. So I'd say it's a risk, issues in Europe, but in many ways it ends up being a positive for Montenegro counterintuitively. This being said, the euro is being used here in Montenegro, so Montenegro is not immune to potential issues with the euro. So if you're of the view that the euro is going to be having a hard time, then you have to build that into your model. And finally, I would say that if, again, related to Europe, if the economy takes a turn for the worse, we'll definitely see a downturn in tourism from people coming down from Europe because, hey, you know, when money's tight, you spend less on holidays and vacations. But again, because seasonality is being reduced in Montenegro, what Montenegro seems to be losing or would lose in peak season tourism, it would gain in low season people moving here full time. And as well, a lot more Canadians and Americans are coming here to Montenegro because they're always restricted in terms of Schengen with 90 days, 90 days. So when they want to recharge their Schengen days, they don't have that many options. They can go to the UK, but that's pretty expensive. So they either go to Turkey, they go to Serbia, Albania, Montenegro, Macedonia. So increasingly you have Americans coming here in the low season, digital nomads, people working remotely, coming for 2-3 months, booking apartments in low season just to recharge their days. It's a pleasant place to do so. And then they go back to Italy, to Spain, to France, to all of that. So there's a lot going from Montenegro from that point of view.
Let me just add something to that as well. I think it's quite interesting how a lot of the big names in the hotel industry have already come to Montenegro, and as first in Europe. I've mentioned this before. So Amman Resorts, Chedi Hotels, One and Only Hotels, Regent Hotels, Hyatt Regency has just opened up. And I think that a lot of the downturn that we're seeing now is, let's say,
so you are seeing downturn in tourism here, right?
In the world. No, I'm talking about a downturn in the world. So this year is a little bit quieter in tourism, but I think that anybody with some kind of foresight, and real estate tends to be medium, long-term planning anyway. So the likes of these big hotels or anybody wanting to do some development, by the time they do anything, by the time they finish, we're talking about 18 or 24 months hence, and chances are we're at the start of a new rise in the market and so on. So those who are buying now are very well set up for the next kind of boom cycle.
It's interesting because I do feel that there is a bit less tourism in Montenegro this year, but upper end tourism is absolutely booming. All the 4-star, 5-star hotels are fully booked. So we're really seeing a divergence from that point of view. Cool. So Peter, now let's drive to Herceg Novi, right?
Yeah, let's go.
So Herceg Novi is quite far, actually. It's going to be quite the ride.
It's over there.
Yeah, beyond. So between the hill here and the mountains behind, there's the whole bay. So we're going to have to take the boat, etc. We're going to go check out that riverside near seafront plot for that whole building with river access where you can have your own boat.
Yeah.
And we're going to do the numbers there as well. All right, cool.
Let's go.
All right, fantastic. Peter square meter. So tell us about this plot.
Great. Well, we're here in a place called Suturina. Suturina is named after the river, actually. So it's the river Suturina. We're right at the mouth of the river going into Herceg Novi Bay. It's a nice sized plot. It's 620 square meters.
So it's this house, essentially.
It's got an existing building on, but essentially you just knock that down and then just redevelop it. Yeah. Unless you wanted to do something very cheap, then you could redevelop that and make it into a little house. Yeah.
Cool, it's really nice, Peter. So this is the little river. So how much is this plot going for?
300,000 at the moment, but the price may go up. Yeah, so it just at the moment it's 300,000, but prices are going up to the area. The next jump, if it does go up, probably will go to 350. So
cool. So
currently we're talking 300,000.
So 480 euros per square meter. 620 square meters, roughly almost 7,000 square feet, roughly for the plot.
Yeah.
When I see this, I mean, it's beautiful. You have the whole bay here. We're going to go up on the structure to see, but this is really, really special. I'd be worried about flooding here. What's your take?
Very simple. Like you can see on both sides, the neighbors have built up their plots We spoke to the neighbours, and they said that there's no issues with flooding, but they have actually kind of built that up, because also it's a bit handy, if you can see for the boat there, it's handy for the boats as well. So if you want to pull a boat alongside, then you can just step into the boat quite easy. So just have a higher quay side here, and also when we're up on the roof, we'll be able to see the neighbour's pool, and that's going to build up. So maybe to have like it's cheaper to build up than it is to build down, and obviously I wouldn't recommend building down here anyway. And then you could maybe like an infinity pool or something like that, and then just kind of hang over the edge of the pool, and you've got these fantastic views. So.
Cool, fantastic. So yeah, let's go up there, and we're going to do all of the numbers in detail in terms of scenarios and how much we can make as investors if we buy this plot of land and essentially buy a building and flip the units. So Peter, before we go into the numbers, can you tell us a little bit about Herceg Novi? Because when people think Montenegro, they think Kotor Bay, Lustica, Budva, but
Porto
people
Montenegro,
all of that, but not really Herceg Novi.
Yeah. Herceg Novi, beautiful town actually. The town is just over there. Over there, and it's in the distance. It's one of these old kind of fortified Austro-Hungarian towns. A lot of people who move here prefer it to living in the bay, because if you notice, you don't have any high mountains around you here, so it's a lot more open, so you get a lot more sunshine. That's south, I think, so south facing, so you're getting the sun all day. And just over there, so over to my left is, screen right is Lustica, and then beyond Lustica you've got the open sea. So anybody who loves sailing and they want to get out into the open sea, this can be fantastic, because you can have your little tender outside, your yacht in the marina, get out onto the open sea and have a great time, or into the bay, and the bay is phenomenal. It's a great place to have a boat.
And typically Herceg Novi comes at a 30% discount to Kotor Bay, roughly?
Yeah, at least 30%. I think that's a
30,
good
40, 30.
Analysis, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And we are 5 minutes away from Croatia.
Yeah, it's just over the border. I know it's not something that will appeal to Ladislas, but on the chances that Montenegro gets European Union accession, then I think the prices here I would say they'd probably jump up 50% quite easily. That's quite an easy thing. Quite often the countries that had accession to the European Union in the past, they doubled in prices. The fact that Montenegro is going into the talk of Montenegro being the next to access into the European Union means that the prices have risen slightly anyway, and it's been quite a hot market for the last couple of years. So I think a 50% for Herceg Novi is quite doable.
It would make a big difference, definitely, for especially Herceg Novi. And then the Dubrovnik airport is what, like 30, 40 minutes away?
40 minutes away, yeah.
So the main airport here is not Tivat Airport, it's not Podgorica Airport, it's Dubrovnik Airport, which is actually quite large.
Yeah, it's quite a decent-sized international airport, and I think that you're either equidistant to the airport as Dubrovnik is, or even closer to Dubrovnik Airport than Dubrovnik is from this area.
Yeah, cool. So now let's go into the actual numbers. So 620 square meters. What is the gross buildable area?
It's 80% gross build area, which is 4 square meters short of 500 square meters.
Okay, so about 500 square meters. Great. What are the construction costs, roughly, if you do something that is not just mid, but a bit premium?
Yeah, I think this site would actually warrant it, and also you'd sell this at a premium as well. So I would say you should budget around about 1,200 euros per square meter for term as a luxe kind of quality, so that type of quality.
Because you showed us some buildings before we came here, where the qualities was a bit more mid. How much would have that been per square meter?
I think those developers probably spent about 800 euros per square meter. So actually, I was quite impressed. They had nice double glazing there. So I think this property would just suit a very simple form. White render, black windows, something like that. You know, either as a single dwelling, like contemporary house, or for, like I mentioned, 6 apartments or something like that. It could be really cool. So
cool. Okay, so 1,200 euros. And what's important to note is that because we're so close to Bosnia, here we can benefit from working with Bosnians, which is a lot more affordable, whilst the plot of land we saw in Lustica a bit earlier, there typically construction is a bit more expensive because it's a bit more remote. Yeah. So there's a premium. Here construction comes at a discount. So just the little nuances of construction in Montenegro. So in terms of total project size, we'd be looking at 600,000 euros to essentially build the structure. Looking at a coefficient of 85% of livable space and about 15% for common areas, it would be about 420 square meters, which is, you were saying, 6 apartments of about 70 square meters each.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were recommending that the 2 apartments on the top floor be a bit different, right?
Yeah, just to go back a little bit, just to give people an idea of what they would get in 70 square meters. In 70 square meters, you'd get reasonably generous, not American generous, but kind of European generous. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 2 balconies. I know that because we live in a 70 square meters, which has exactly those dimensions. And then on the penthouse could be phenomenal. So you could actually sell 2 penthouse apartments. You'd sell those at a premium. And if you do it with a flat roof design, you're then also going to allow the people with the penthouse to have the exclusive right to use that rooftop. So you'll then be kind of selling or including the terraces. So you're going to have 70, 80 square meters of additional terraces on top of that, where you would actually put maybe a big pergola, outdoor kitchen, perhaps a jacuzzi. And you're going to be a little bit higher up, of course, and you're going to have proper panoramic 360-degree views of whatever. So like before, I mentioned, Lustica, open sea, Tivat, Porto Novi, Lovćen Mountain, and then you're going to be looking up at over the kind of border for Croatia. So.
And this would be the worst view, right?
This is the worst view,
This would be the ground floor, because
yeah.
underneath is where you would have the parking for cars. So imagine add like 3-4 floors to this. Imagine the views from there. You would see literally everything. So it'd be quite stunning.
Yeah.
So in terms of selling prices, the normal apartments versus the penthouses, how much per square meter?
Yeah, I think very conservatively, you'd be looking at 3,000 euros per square meter, so 210,000. I think that price is almost, when I say it, I think it's a little bit low for the location and the quality.
It is.
But just to be very conservative, so let's say 3,000 square meters, so 210 for the 70 square meter apartments. And then for the penthouses, then I think you should be looking at maybe 3,500 to 4,000. Realistically, I think you should be selling the 4 apartments, maybe 3,000 to 3,500. I think that's a reasonable price in today's money. And then the apartments above, maybe 3,500 to perhaps even 4,500 euros a square meter, considering that you'll also be giving them the terraces as well.
Yeah. So if we use 3,000 for the normal apartments and 4,000 for the penthouses, this gives us about 1.4 million on a cost basis of 600 for construction plus 300 for the plot of land, so 900K total. About 56% gross profit. So these are just very rough numbers because obviously it'll cost a bit more because you need to destroy the structure. You probably want to add a pool, a nice pool like the neighbors did, but nicer. Potentially, and this would also, all of these things would increase the price. So when he's saying 3,000 euros, if you add a big swimming pool here, then you go to 3.2, 3.3, etc.
Yeah.
Potentially you could have individual pontoons for the penthouses, for boats, potentially add a little bar.
The world's your oyster.
It's essentially, it would be more than 900,000. You'd be maybe looking at 1 million, but you'd be selling for more than 1.4. But essentially the gross margin, you're looking at least 56%. I feel quite comfortable saying this.
And also, I think we touched on it when we were looking at the other plot this morning. I think that this could also suit the type of investor who doesn't necessarily want to sell. So they could actually build themselves a future income, pension, whatever it may be. If they want to put in 900,000 million euros, then they've got their 6 apartments, which they can then rent out long term or put it on Airbnb. Yeah. They've got a fantastic income for the rest of their life, and they don't need to worry. And they could live in one. They could live in one of the penthouses and rent out the other 5.
Or just sell a few and then keep one of the penthouses. Come out with a free penthouse and profit. Cool. Okay. Fantastic. So look, 2 points. One, I wrote a whole article on the real estate market here in Montenegro, where to invest, where not to invest, etc., etc. So there's a link below. And secondly, if you want to invest in plots of land or normal real estate, villas, whether for investment or for lifestyle, do get in touch with Peter Square Meter. What I really like about Peter Square Meter is he's able to give realistic assessments of potential investments, and that's always very helpful. We've done quite a few transactions together over the years that I've been active here in the Montenegrin real estate market.
That's it. Ladislas, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm.
I never say this in my videos, but thank you, Peter Square Meter.
You're welcome.
Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate, which you can find on my website, link below, and feel free to follow me on Instagram @TheWandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.